Hello everyone. So today we are going to learn about linear equation in one or two variable. So let's start. So what is coordinate? So coordinate is a number written in the bracket. In between there is a comma. Let's say I write 2 comma 3. So this is the coordinate, and always this is the x-axis value. It represent x-axis value. On the x-axis this represent the y-axis value, and the x coordinate, this is the x coordinate, and x coordinate is called abscissa and y coordinate is called ordinate. Now what are these coordinate? So this is the x-axis. This horizontal line represent the x-axis, and this vertical line is nothing but y-axis. And the line, the point where they both intersect is called origin, and these let's say I represent it using O. And this is positive x-axis. In this direction these all will be having positive values, so this is positive x-axis, and this side it is negative x-axis. This is positive y-axis above this origin, and below this origin is negative y-axis. So basically there are four quadrant: first quadrant, second quadrant, third quadrant, and fourth quadrant. So in the first quadrant, we can see that x value is positive, value is as positive as well. In the second quadrant, x-axis is negative and y-axis is positive. In the third quadrant, both are negative. In the fourth quadrant, x is positive, y is negative. We always write x-axis, x coordinate first and y coordinate like after that. So that's why for in first quadrant both the values of like both x-axis and y-axis are positive. In second, x-axis is negative, y is positive. In third, both are negative. And fourth, x is positive and y is negative. Now there is a question, that is which of the following coordinate lie in the first quadrant. So we know in the first quadrant this is positive x-axis, this is positive y-axis, and this is the first quadrant. Both x and y were positive. So in above these like in all these values, this one will lie in the first quadrant, since both the values x-axis value and y-axis, like both coordinates, are positive. Now let's say some formulas. Let's say this is a point A and this is a point B. This is the line joining these points. A point is having coordinate x1, y1, and B coordinate is having point as x2, y2. And this is the line segment AB, that is joining point A and B. If we have to find the length of this AB, there is a formula, that is x2 minus x1 whole square under root plus y2 minus y1, this is y1, whole square under root. So we can find the length of AB this using this formula. Let's say x1 is 5, y1 is 1, and x2 is x1 is 1 and y1 is 2, x2 is 5 and y2 is 5. If we have to find the distance between these 2 points, we can find using this formula, the x2 minus x1. So 5 minus 1, y2 minus y1, 5 minus 2 whole square. 5 minus 1 is 4, 4 square is 16. 5 minus 2 is 3, 3 square is 9. So it would be under root 25, and root 25 is 5. So this is the length of this line segment AB. Again, if we have to find out the midpoint, let's say this is a point A, this is a point B. A point is having coordinate, okay, let's say this is point B. A point is having coordinate as x1, y1. B point is having coordinate as x2, y2. So if we have to find a point that is the midpoint, that is dividing this line into equal two part, and we have to find out the coordinate of this point, so how we will find? Using this formula, that is x1 plus x2 divided by 2 and y1 plus y2 divided by 2. Let's say this x1, this is 1 comma 2 and this is 5 comma 4. So x1 plus x2, that is 1 plus 5 divided by 2, comma y1 plus y2, that is 2 plus 4 divided by 2. 1 plus 5 is 6 by 2, that is 3. Again this is 3 3. So this coordinate of this point will be 3 comma 3. So this is how we can find out the midpoint. Now bisect. Bisect means nothing but dividing into two equal parts. Let's say this is a line named as AB and this is 10 centimeter. So and there is a point that is C which divide it into equal two parts, that is 5 centimeter and 5 centimeter. So we can say that point C is bisecting this line AB. If we divide it into three equal part, let's say this is 15 centimeter line and these two parts divide it into 5 5 and 5 centimeter. So this is an example of trisect, that is three equal part. Now let me erase it first. So linear equation. So linear equation is an equation of degree 1. So let's say x plus y is equals to 10. This is a equation and these are the variable, that is they have no fixed value, and this is a constant. Constant include numbers and variable include alphabets. So if we see the power of the variable, the maximum power, uh, they are having 1. So degree is nothing but power of the variable. So if this is 1, we call that this equation is linear equation. But if it's like this, something like this, so here maximum power of variable is 2. So this is not a linear equation. Okay. So linear equation is an equation of degree 1. Now to understand slope, let me draw a graph. This is x-axis, this is y-axis, this is origin, and this is a graph, a straight line graph. So slope, if we have to find out the slope of this graph, so how we will calculate? Let's take 2 point. Okay, this is going so. Okay, let it be. So this is point, let's say y2, and this is the, we'll take any 2 point of this graph, um, like any 2 point on this graph, and this is, let's say, y1, and the corresponding x values, that is, let's say this is x2 and this is x1, and we'll divide it, that is we'll divide the difference in vertical change, that is y2 minus y1, divide by the horizontal change, that is x2 minus x1, x2 minus x1, vertical change and the horizontal change, and their ratio is called slope. We represent it using m. So m is equals to y2 minus y1 and x2 minus x1. Slope also tell us this, we can tell this about the slope of graph using the like by telling the steepness, because slope is nothing but steepness of a graph. If there is a straight line and like if there are two lines, these two, which one will be having greater slope? If let's say this is graph 1, this is graph 2, so graph 1 will be having greater slope. Why? Because it is more steep. The slope is nothing but how steep a graph is, like how much angle it is making from the x-axis, that is slope. So slope of 1 will be greater than slope 2 because it is more steep. If a if a graph is like this on the x-axis, it has no slope. It has zero slope because it has no steepness. So now we know how we can calculate the slope. We can take the vertical change and the horizontal change and we can divide them. That is, we can find the ratio of um, the vertical and the horizontal change. Now slope intercept form. To understand it, again I'll have to draw the graph. So this is x-axis, this is y-axis, and let's say this is the graph this time. This is the graph. So the equation for a straight line is y is equals to mx plus c, and that is what we call slope intercept form. Y is nothing but y-axis, m is slope, x is x-axis, c is y-intercept. What is y-intercept? The point where this graph is cutting y-axis from there to this origin distance, like from origin to this point distance is y-intercept, that is c. Similarly, x-intercept is the point where this graph is cutting the x-axis, and the distance from origin to this point, the point of intersection between graph and the x-axis, is called x-intercept. So this line is the equation for a straight line, and this is the slope intercept form. Again, the 2-point formula. Now we can find out the equation using the like if we know the coordinate of 2 points. For example, this is a point A and this is a point B, and we want to find out the equation of this line, and we know that the coordinate of this point is x1 y1, coordinate of this point is x2 y2, and we want to find out the line equation of AB. So we can find out using this formula, that is y minus y1. Y is nothing, we'll keep y as it is, and y1 is this, so we'll put the value of this. Similarly, we'll keep the x as it is, and x1 we know that this is the x1. So using this formula we can find out the equation of line. Again, slope intercept formula. So we can again find the equation of line if we know the x-intercept and y-intercept. A is the x-intercept and B is the y-intercept in this formula. Point intercept form is nothing but again we can find the equation of line. If we know a point on the line, let's say this is a line and we know a point, this is point C, and its coordinate is x1 comma y1, and we know the slope of this line is m. So we can find out the equation for this line, and using this formula, that is y minus y1. Y will be like this because in equation we should have x and y1 is this. M is the slope of graph. X would be like this because we have to find this equation, and in equation x and y are the variables. So x1 would be this value. Using this formula we can calculate the we can find out the equation of line. Now let's say some questions. The end points of line segment are these and these. What is the slope of this line? This is the end point, that is minus 3 comma 6 and 7 comma 4, and we have to find out the slope, that is m, and we know the formula for m is y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1, right? Now this is now y2 is, in this case y2 is 4, so 4 minus 6 divided by x2 is 7, minus this minus is formula minus, and x1 here is minus 3, so that's why there are two minus 3 is this one and this minus is this one. So if we'll calculate minus 6 and 4 is minus 2, now this is 7 minus minus 3, so 7 minus minus is plus 3, so 7 plus 3 is 10. We will divide it by 2 and we will get the minus 1 by 5. So this is the slope of this line. Again, there is a line segment whose endpoints are given as 5 comma minus 5 and minus 5 comma minus 5. we have to calculate the slope of this line. For finding slope, we know the formula. Again, that is y2 minus y1 upon x2 minus x1. Using this formula, now we know that this is x1 and y1 and this is x2 and y2. So y2 is minus 5 and y2 is minus 5, and in formula there is a minus, so we'll write minus, and y1 is minus 5. So again we will write minus 5 divided by x2 is minus 5. Again there is a minus in the formula, so we'll put minus, and x1 is 5. So minus 5 minus minus is plus, minus 5 and plus 5. So it would be 0. And so the slope is 0. That means there is no steepness in the graph. Like if there is a graph on the x-axis, so its slope will be 0. What is the slope of line segment with endpoint this? This is the same question that you have to do using the formula y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. There is a graph given and we have to find the slope of this line AB. Let me draw it. So, let's say this is line A and B. So there is no value given, so we'll count the squares, and using square we will find the coordinate of this point A and point B. How can we, like in case of A, I'll count 1 2 3 4 5. If there are on x-axis there are 5 squares, so I will write 5 comma, then I will calculate, and because this direction represent minus, so I will write minus 5 comma, in the y axis there is only one square, and so I will write 1, and it represent positive y axis, so I will keep it as positive. So by counting the squares I can write down the coordinates of A and B. Let's say this is minus 5, this is 1. So coordinate for this point is x-axis, I will write first, that is minus 5 comma 1. For this, let's say this is 5 and this is minus 4. If it is not written minus, if it is 4, then we know that this represent minus y-axis, so we have to write minus sign. So for point B, x-axis is 5 comma y-axis is 4, but this is negative y-axis, so I will write minus 4. Since now I know the coordinate of these 2 points, so using the formula y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1, I can calculate the m, that is the slope. So in this case, y2 was minus 1 and y1 was 1, and x2 is 5 and x1 is minus 5. Using this formula, I got my slope as minus 1 by 2. Again there is a question, that is we have to calculate the slope of this line, that is CD. Okay. So to calculate the slope of CD, we will count these square. If we'll count, there are 2 square in the x-axis, so it will be having 2 comma, in the y-axis there are 8 squares, so it will be having 2 comma 8. For D, if we count in the y-axis, in the x-axis it is 1 square, and we know this x-axis is negative, so we will write minus 1. And in this way it is there are 7 square, so we'll write 7, and this is negative y-axis, so we'll write minus 7. Now we know the coordinate of C and D. We can calculate the slope using this formula. It will come out 5. What is the midpoint of line segment with endpoint this? So there, is this 0 comma minus 8 and minus 8 comma 0. These are the endpoints. We have to calculate the midpoint's coordinate. These we have to calculate these coordinate. So we know that formula is x1 plus x2 divided by 2 comma y1 plus y2 divided by 2. Using this formula, x1 is 0 plus y1 is x2 is x1 is this, x2 is minus 8 divided by 2 comma y1 is 8. Okay, this is minus 8. So y1 is minus 8 plus y2 is 0 divided by 2, and minus 8 divided by 2 is minus 4, minus 8 divided by 2 is minus 4. So we get minus 4 comma minus 4. This is the coordinate of this midpoint. This is the similar question that you can do by yourself. You have to find the midpoint in this question as well. Again, you have to find the midpoint. There is a question. You have to find the midpoint of this line AB. For finding midpoint, we must know the coordinate of these endpoints, right? So again, we can find the midpoint by counting these square. So there are, in the x-axis, there are 5 square in this direction. So we'll write 5 because we know that this is minus axis, so I will write minus 5 comma. In the y axis there are 4 square, so I will write 4, and we know that this is minus y axis, so I will write minus 5 minus 4. These are the coordinate of point A. For point B, um, in the x-axis I will count there are 9 square, so I will write 9, and this is positive x-axis, so this is 9 only. In the y-axis I will count there are 2 square, so I will write 2. So these are the coordinates of A and B. Now by applying x1 plus x2 divide by 2 comma y1 plus y2 divide by 2, I can find out the midpoint's coordinate. That will come out as 2 comma minus 1. Again, this is the same question. We have to find the midpoint for CD. You have to do it by yourself. That will come out as the answer is this. Try it by yourself, then you can check the answer. Thank you.